So, to discuss the recent killings in Benue State is a former special advisor on media and publicity to Benue State Governor Terver Akase. Terver, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Also joining me via Zoom is a public commentator, Caleb Sender. Terver, welcome to Signature TV.
Thank you so much, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Terver. What are the underlying factors you believe have contributed most significantly to the escalation of violence in Benue State, particularly the recent wave of killings?
But I think it's a combination of factors, a number of factors. One of which is neglect, the neglect of intelligence by those who should act proactively and stamp and prevent what we are now having. Because security anywhere in the world has to do with intelligence gathering. Because community people know themselves. And when they have suspicious faces come in, they know. And this information is made available to security agencies, but oftentimes this information is neglected. Number two is the lack, or should I say, the insufficiency of political will still on the part of the authorities. Because nothing is really new in Nigeria. If you're talking about recommendations, we have had so many talk shops, security talk shops at all levels. National security summits have been held many times, and those recommendations are always there. The issue of header-farmer conflicts. People say it is header-farmer clashes, but there is nothing like clashes here, because the headers are the ones who come from wherever to graze openly on the land, especially in Benue State. So when people say clash, I find it strange. Now, there have been recommendations on how to end this thing, but it appears the government is not interested, especially the federal government is not interested. That is why you have this problem continue. And the latest attacks in Benue have happened the way they have happened because the present government of the state has been living in denial of the truth of what the attacks are. Because the headers have never hidden their identity. They have never hidden. Anytime they want to attack a community, they issue that threat maybe a week or two before they come. And when they do come, they leave their signature, their stamp there. And so it's obvious that perhaps the government and security agencies are not interested, for whatever reason, are not interested in solving this problem, because the headers are in those forests and the security agencies know those forests. Using surveillance and all of that, they know. But it appears the political will to stop the killings is lacking. That's why the government of Benue State, as it were, as it has been living in that denial, trying to reduce the numbers of the killings. Look at the Yelewata attacks of 2 days ago. More than 200 people were killed. I have been to Yelewata, and I know I've seen what happened there. And the governor came out yesterday and said that only 59 people were killed. But what is the truth is that more than 200 people were killed. So you can see that trajectory of insincerity, of denial, what are they hiding? Your people are killed, and these people who come to attack your people are not from here. They come sometimes with cows, sometimes without cows. Even if you see the cows, there are people behind the cows with AK-47 and even AK-49. So that's why I began by saying it's a mixed, it's a grill of factors. But the summary is the zero, the lack of sincerity, the lack of political will on the part of authorities in ending this problem.
Okay, you talked about lack of interest. You talked about lack of sincerity in ending this. Are you going to sort of recommend? You said several recommendations have been made, but
Yes.
during the last administration, were any of those recommendations implemented? Because what we're looking at now is causes. The rippling effect is so much. It's affecting people who are what you call casualties of a situation that shouldn't even affect them. So, what type of strategies and the political will, do you think should be implemented now to end this?
Well, that's a good question. Fortunately, agriculture is not on the exclusive list of legislation in this country. Agriculture is on the concurrent, it's even on the residual list, which means the federal, state, and local governments can legislate on agriculture. And animal husbandry is part of agriculture. Now, that is why states can make laws to regulate agriculture. A state can say, okay, we're giving farm implements to farmers at subsidized rates because states have the right to regulate on that. But security is on the exclusive list of administration in this country. So now, when you have that, Benue State took that proactive step, looking at the opportunity of the fact that agriculture is on the open list of administration, which is also called the residual list, made the law banning open grazing of animals in 2017. And that law is supposedly
to be in
effect. But unfortunately, the current government came and sidelined the livestock guards, which is the enforcement component of that legislation. The livestock guards were not armed, but they had the capacity to impound to impound animals that were grazing openly. And there were fines. So that made the lawbreakers to be afraid to move with animals in open places. So for some years, Benue State did not have open grazing. But when this government came, it discarded the law and disbanded the livestock guards. And now they have converted the impoundment vehicles of the livestock guards to be used by the state-owned transport company, Benue Links, as cargo vehicles. Now, when you render the livestock guards redundant, or you have disbanded them, that's more or less that's what it is. You have technically repealed or at least suspended that law. So you asked the question, the solution. I'm saying Benue already found that solution. And for 5 years or so, open grazing was no longer happening in Benue. Anywhere those cows were sighted, the livestock guards impounded them, and the law says keep them for 7 days, and if the owners do not come to pay the fines and recover their animals, then the animals are auctioned. That's what the law says. And the law does not stop only cows. The law has provisions even on goats, sheep, pigs, and every other domestic animal. So, and the law also is against cattle rustling. Now, when this government came and sidelined that law, some of us knew that there would be trouble. because the headers were very happy to see that this government is not interested in implementing, in enforcing the law banning open grazing. And that began, they came back in droves. If you move around Benue State now, you see cows everywhere, even in townships. So that's where the problem is. And then this government, as I said earlier, is not interested in calling the spade as a spade. I don't want to say they've been lying, but it is something like that. Because when people are killed, they do not want the figures to be put out there. They don't want the press to even report it. So one wonders, what are these people? What are they afraid of? You are the governor of the state. You are the so-called chief security officer. Yes, you don't command the police and civil defense and the military, but you can at least request for reinforcements of security in your state. But we've not had that. Last night, the governor was on television, and he said that only 59 people, and this has sparked reactions and anger amongst Benue people. Why are you suppressing the numbers? Why are you hiding the numbers? When your people are being killed, now what are you telling those families that have lost love? In fact, if you know the details of what happened 2 days ago, a family of maybe 10, 15 people will be wiped out. Those people went to those houses and put fuel and were burning those. People were in sleep, deep sleep, around 2 a.m. Okay. And you came and you burned down the entire household. This is inhuman. Now a governor comes on air and says this did not happen the way it's being reported. It's quite unfortunate.
That is Terver Akase, a former SA to the immediate past governor of Benue State. Terver, I just have to let you go, but you deepened our conversation. But just one word, is there a quick fix before we begin to talk about getting that law back? Is there a quick fix?
Quick fix, deploy security to the flashpoints.
Thank you.
The border communities of Benue State.
Thank you very much. Terver Akase.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's
my pleasure.
Yes.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.